In the pre-budget address by His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, he described the budget 2022 as geared towards economic growth and expansion without bringing new tax burdens or hardships on the people of Guyana. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Budget in Focus, and at this time I'm joined in studio with the Honorable Minister of Public Service, Sonia Parag. Thank you so much for being here, Minister.
Thank you for having me, Travis.
Right. In the context or the larger context of Budget 2022, my first question to you at this time is, what are your thoughts and how really exceptional this budget is for people?
Exceptional is the right word to use. This is the magnitude or the size of this budget is unprecedented in Guyana, as you would know. But it's not just about the number. It is what that number, the impact that that number will have on the lives of all Guyanese. And that is what the government is looking to have with this budget. Now, a lot of work went into the preparation to get to this final figure. So a lot of priorities had to be in place. A lot of taking into account different parts of the country, our population, our people, of course, and the needs of our people. So this budget, while we have been transforming since we've gotten into office from 2020, this budget would actually create that strong foundation for that transformation to effectively take place. But it's not just transformation in how the country looks, but transformation in what I would consider our most valuable asset, the people of Guyana.
Thank you, Minister. On that note of transforming the people of Guyana, can you tell me specifically what the last 18 months would have been like? What you assumed or what was you received upon assumption into office, and how have those budgets, Budget 2021 and also the emergency budget that we saw in 2020, how were they able to get you to this point where you are now, specifically in your ministry?
Right. So, as you know, the 20,000 online scholarship, or the Guyana Online Academy of Learning, has implemented in 2021 the 20,000 online scholarship initiative, which is an initiative from His Excellency after consultation with the people of Guyana during the campaign leading up to the 2020 elections. That initiative, I would consider in 2021, was highly successful. That was one way in which the Ministry of Public Service, along with GOAL, transformed the lives of at least 6,000 Guyanese. And that's a huge impact because parents work hard to get that finance to give their children or even themselves a higher education. Sometimes you don't make it to that. But the need for higher education is a burning need. And so the government brought this initiative on board to not only be able to let people keep money in their pockets by financing all these awardees to be able to get a higher education, but it was an investment in our human resource or human capital. It is also the fact that they wanted to give a second chance to persons who maybe when they were young didn't have that second chance, right? So that's one aspect of it. Then you have the scholarships that is a part of the Ministry of Public Service that is for the public sector. So what we did in 2021, we were very selective in how we granted the scholarships, but it was in a way which reflected the priority needs of the public sector. It was also done in a very structured way because when you look at the emerging oil and gas sector, it's not just a master's in oil and gas. You need different skill sets. So we would have structured it in such a way that we were giving different skill sets, scholarship in different skill sets, from one particular university, So that was one. Then we were also looking at the University of Guyana and which is our largest grant, and again restructuring that how we were granting the programs to be able to fit the needs of the public sector. So those were some of the things that we were doing. Also with our training division, we began to redesign the programs to suit the relevant upskilling of the public servants to be able to perform their duties or their functions in a more knowledgeable way.
Minister, specifically for budget 2022, what are some of the initiatives that we can see being continued and even the new ones we can
Right.
expect to benefit the people of Guyana?
Well, specifically with the Ministry of Public Service,
Yes.
I am happy to say that we have been granted for goal $1.3 billion. And so I was very happy to hear that, because last year $1 billion was we promised 4,500 scholarships. We were able to grant 6,000 out of nearly 8,000 applicants. So I was very pleased that this year we would be in a position to accommodate more students if need be. And once we are able, of course, to grant within the various fields that kind of number again. So I was very pleased that we went from 1 billion to 1.3 there. Also, the scholarship for the Ministry of Public Service was again over $1 billion. And I'm particularly pleased at that because this year I want to look at certain specific needs, like from the health sector, for example, we have specialty needs. And I was looking particularly to be able to structure those from one particular university and be able to have, like, Travis, did you know that we have only one pathologist in Guyana? So we are looking to have more pathologists be trained. We are looking to have other persons in other specialties be trained and come back. And it's, of course, to fit and suit the growing needs and developing needs of our country. And we know that our country is on an developing path.
Yeah. Regarding or fitting the developing needs of the country, with the advent of oil and gas and what that has in store for us, what can we expect also the Ministry of Public Service doing in terms of training of persons? Can we expect more being done in terms of supporting those who are even currently there or assisting in that area?
Well, of course, the Ministry of Public Service will assist in that area. One of the things that the Ministry of Public Service will be undertaking this year is an official, in collaboration with the Ministry of Education and Ministry of Labor, an official needs assessment of the nation and the needs of the nation. But when Budget 2022 was read in the 5 hours and 15 minutes that Dr. Ashney Singh so valiantly stood up and did, he did say that there will be an oil and gas institute being established in Berbice, I believe, in Region 6. And that will be done during the course of this year to accommodate the training for those persons. So the Ministry of Public Service will have a say in who is to be trained and the type of skills. Of course, in collaboration with Ministry of Labor, etc.
Okay. Minister, could we talk a little bit about the public service specifically? I know that right now, because of where Guyana is headed, there needs to be a massive overhaul in the way we spoke about this sometime too, in the way the public servants are seeing themselves as workers in the environment. So is there any specific needs assessment being done in that case? And what training will public servants be having? Or what other incentives also will be offered to them this year?
Well, we are looking at training in what some people might consider a basic training, but very necessary if you're looking to have a professional and modern public service. So we are looking to do ethics training that will be running from the beginning of the year throughout the year. So it's not just a one-off course and then you're finished with that. And I believe each ministry will now be looking at which of their employees or how many of their employees are performing at their best, and perhaps whatever each ministry, tailored to suit their ministry, decides to implement in relation to recognizing that person for their performance, that will also be done this year. So those are things that we're doing. We're looking to enhance the Center of Excellence for Information Technology, which is now under the Ministry of Public Service. And that will be geared towards not only information technology training to digitize the different ministries or departments in the ministries, but also we are looking to make that a regional hub. And also with the training coming out of the Ministry of Public Service in relation to public servants, we're looking to extend that beyond the public service this year.
Thank you, Minister. Specifically, Budget 2022 and your allocation this year, how do you see that really playing a part or shaping the One Guyana initiative that President Ali often speaks about?
I can definitely tell you, Travis, that is going to have an impact like most, and if not all, of the other initiatives in the budget, as well as the measures affecting all Guyanese or impacting all Guyanese. And I can tell you that is already happening with GOAL. If you just take a look at the list of the awardees that we have published in the newspapers, on the social media Facebook pages and so on, you will see the list of each person that was awarded. Look at that and you will see the reflection of all Guyanese. We have 6 races in Guyana, and you can look at that list and you will see it reflected there. And that is exactly what His Excellency is talking about when he said we want one Guyana. This government is not working for one particular group. We're working for the entire of Guyana. Look at one of the measures that was placed in the budget, $100 million for the arts. So culture, youth and sports is now, and we saw in 2021 that Guyana has talent beyond what we could have imagined, coming out of each ethnic group. And the government has recognized that, the government knows that, and we want to be able to have these persons enhanced, developed, and be able to display what we have. So with all of the initiatives and all of the measures that were placed in the budget, they are geared towards unity. It's geared towards enhancing the lives of the young, the old. It doesn't matter if you're Afro-Guyanese or you are East Indian or you're Chinese, Portuguese, mixed race, Amerindian. It is geared towards all of that. Look at what we are doing for the hinterland. You know, in the scholarship program that I have, there is a portion of the scholarship that is there for hinterland students. Besides the rest of the country, because we also do that to the rest of the country. But for University of Guyana, there is an allotment for hinterland students to ensure that those persons in Region 8, 9, 1, and different other Region 7 be able to benefit equally.
Yeah. Minister, as you're coming along to program time, I wanted to specifically ask you general comments about why Guyanese, the average Guyanese person, should be happy about Budget 2022. Of course, there are a whole host of measures there specifically targeting even at the low income where there's a lot of disposable income.
Yes.
And then there's also the measures to address the cost of living situation.
Correct.
So why should people be comforted in the fact that Budget 2022 is pro-people?
It is people-centered because you have children were taken into account, for example, with the cash grant being increased from 19,000 to 30,000. That's an 11,000 jump. That puts money in the pockets of the families, public servants included. We have public assistance that went up. We have the pension that went up. These are all commitments that the government made and promises that are being delivered continuously throughout the year. But even more than that, we promised job creation. Job creation is not just looking at the public sector and deciding that you're going to have a job in an office. It's not just about that. It's about having a job in a call center. It's about being able to give your service for an income. And you're going to have that from a call center. You're going to have that from the construction boom. And the construction boom has begun. So this is an explosion that's going to happen this year. So, you have to look at it in that context. You have to look at it that we are now, the government has placed $5 billion there for affected persons with the cost of living. You are talking about farmers market in different communities that will bring the produce closer to you, so you're not paying the cost of where it's at the market, or where you have to go to a market and pay that. Now, that is something that I think personally is a great initiative. I think that is people-centered, because we all know that cost of living is rising. Everyone knows that. And so the government has put things in place that will be able to alleviate that, give you some relief, keep some money in your pocket. And so we have to look at all of these things, and we must look at the fact also that freight costs and so on will be going down. So persons who have to do the construction, who have to buy material for construction and so on, that will be a great reduction for them. And you also look at the drop in gas prices.
Yeah.
Big deal. Everybody has a car now. Everybody's traveling to somewhere or the other. You keep money in your pocket if you have to spend less on gas. So the initiatives are there. Scholarship is one. You don't have to pay for your child's education because you will be able to go through the goal initiative to get a scholarship. So that takes a huge burden, lifts a huge burden off of a parent's shoulder. Yeah. And any parent who has a child knows that. The education sector is catering for feeding of children. Social services, human services is doing so much with their budget. Healthcare. So many hospitals are being built. Dialysis, I have seen the explosion on social media as it relates to the dialysis treatment. And so many people need this financial assistance. So if these are not people-centered, I don't know what is. And each of these measures, they carry a human touch. Each of the measures.
Yes. Thank you so much, Minister Parag, for
you,
taking
Travis,
time
having
out to be here. And thank you to you, our listeners and viewers of this program of Budget in Focus. I am Travis Bruce. Thanks for joining us.